Interior, Dr. Parker's office, day. June sits on Dr. Parker's sofa next to Evelyn. Dr. Parker looks down at her watch impatiently. How about we just get started since you are on the clock after all? June, if your sister shows up, we can always just get her up to speed.
She is on her way, Doctor. It's just that Jessica doesn't live in this state anymore. She's actually traveling in from out of town on visit, and so
Mother doesn't care why Jesse is late. Let's just get this thing going. I'm wasting money just sitting here.
your insurance is. Your insurance is wasting money, not you.
June silently stares at Evelyn, extremely annoyed. Regardless of the matter, June, I would like to pick up where we left off last week. We were discussing some things that we thought you might want to talk over with your family. Things about your childhood. Dr. Parker is interrupted by two knocks on her door. Her receptionist holds open the door to let Jessie in.
Hello, everyone. Mother, I am so sorry I'm late. You wouldn't believe the trouble it took me to get here. Utterly ridiculous.
Jessie sits down next to Evelyn and gives her a big hug. Jessie looks over at Dr. Parker.
Dr. Faye, it's very nice to see you again. It's been a while.
It's very good to see you too, Jessica. Glad you could make it.
Yes, of course. Anything from my mother.
Looks past her mother at June.
And of course from my baby sister. How are you, June?
Well, still in therapy, so yeah. Jessie stares at her sister for a few seconds, then laughs to comment off.
Oh, June. See, you haven't lost that wonderful sarcastic touch of yours.
Now that you're here, Jessica, I was going to allow June to speak openly about her frustrations as a child. Now, keep in mind that we are in a judgment free zone. June's truth is her own and no one else's. She should feel comfortable to express whatever is on her mind without the fear of criticism from her family. Do we all agree? Evelyn and Jessie nod their heads simultaneously. Then they both turn to look at June, whose eyes are glued to the floor. June, how about you start with your mother? June takes a deep breath, then turns to face Evelyn. Last week, I was talking to Dr. Parker about how I kind of feel I kind of felt invisible while growing up. I wasn't particularly good at things the way Jesse was, and well, Rodney, Rodney was such a grenade that was ready to explode at any minute. No one could take their eyes off the kid for a second without him getting into some trouble. And I just sort of felt like the black sheep. Middle child, Jesse and Rodney kind of ignored me, and I only had one friend growing up, and it was all extremely difficult for me. And I'm not so sure you're completely aware of all this.
That's not true. You got plenty of love and attention from me and your father. We bought you so many instruments while growing up that you could have started your own marching band. I don't believe particularly doing that for Jesse or for Rodney. That was just for you.
Mother, do you honest to God think that musical instruments are love? Which, by the way, I sucked at every one of them, but you just kept on buying me more, as if music was supposed to be my thing or something. Jesse had sports, Rodney could fix just about anything, and I was supposed to play the trumpet or flute.
Then why would you keep letting us buy you new ones? Those things were not cheap, you know. And your grandparents would help us buy you more.
I just liked the fact that I could make a lot of annoying noise in the house and no one could tell me to stop, especially at night.
That's pretty mean, Junef, even for you. I've gotta agree with mom on this one. That's mean. I would have never done something like that.
Of course not. Only little vindictive June could think of something so cruel. Not oh so sweet and perfect Jessie.
Now, June, you shouldn't get mad at your sister for your issues.
Ladies, let's refocus. June, I want to get back to your childhood.
No, Mom, you don't have to protect me. If Juniph have something to say to me, then I believe she should just come right out and say it. After all, we're all here for her. Let's give her safe space to say whatever's on her mind. Go ahead, June.
June turns sideways on the sofa so that she can get a better look at Jessie. Jessie raises an eyebrow in anticipation. When's the last time the two of us just had lunch together?
What do you mean? We go out to eat every time I'm in town.
No, Jessie. I'm talking about just the two of us. Without mom, without dad and Rodney, without your screaming kids or your husband fitting the bill. When's the last time the two of us just hung out like sisters?
I guess I guess I can't really recall.
That's because we don't. And we never did, even as kids. Pause. Jessica, how does that make you feel? Knowing that your sister feels like the two of you never really spent quality time together to bond, possibly ever in your entire lives.
Frankly, Dr. Fay, that's just a huge load of crap. This is just mental manipulation at its finest. June is just trying to justify all the terrible things she's had done and wants to blame us for it. Stereotypical middle child still crying out for attention. Well, in this case, Junip, no one's going to fall for your little tricks. We're so over it.
What tricks? What the hell are you even talking about, Jessica? Jessie faces forward to talk to Dr. Parker. Evelyn can see Jessie is visibly upset, so she places one hand onto Jessie's thigh in a small attempt to calm her down.
Dr. Fay, do you want to know what my dear baby sister did to a very expensive bouquet of roses I sent to our mother on Mother's Day?
June fidgets in her seat, angrily staring at Jessie.
June damaged our parents' garbage disposal after dropping each rose into it. Just one by one. Thank God she didn't get through all of them. And it's not like she was ever going to tell me. Our mother had to tell me why the rose thorns helped damage the old disposal, simultaneously thanking me for buying them in the first place.
Sometimes, Jessie, I swear, I just can't stand you. Why the hell did you need to tell her that?
Why didn't you? That happened months ago. Why didn't you bring it up at your previous sessions? Too busy trying to play victim? I swear sometimes you can be so immature. I mean, who do you think had to pay to get the new disposal installed?
Gee, I don't know. Your husband? Dr. Brent Angelo, DPM, foot doctor extraordinaire? Pretty sure he could afford it along with another bouquet or two. Okay, now we're getting off track. Let's all just take a deep breath and try to get back on topic.
The point isn't whether me and my husband can afford to have the darn thing fixed. The point is, you screwed up and acted on impulse yet again and left me to clean up your mess. I am constantly saving your ass and it's becoming exhausting.
You do not.
You broke mom's statues as a kid, and I had to glue them back together. You failed your final exam in college. I had to beg your professor to give you an extra credit assignment. You lost hours at work, and now I have to give mom and dad some extra cash just in case you need to borrow something from them. Because God forbid you ever ask me for help.
Mom? Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. And another thing. It wasn't mom and dad that's been helping you pay off your car loan these last 3 years. It's been Mr. and Mrs. Dr. Angelo DPM. In fact, I'm almost certain that every dime you and Ronnie has ever borrowed from our parents over the past 10 years have actually come from us. And you can sit here and honestly think that I don't do anything for you. Well, surprise. That is far from the truth, sis.
June watches in silence as Evelyn places a hand on Jesse's shoulder. After all these years, why didn't you tell me any of this?
Because I'm no fool, June. I know how you feel about me and my family. I know how you resent me. If mom ever told you where that money had come from, you would have never accepted it. You die before you accept a handout from the Angelos. So I just found another way to help the family out. To help you out.
By lying to me? For years. 10 years to be exact. How did you think I was going to react once I found out? I don't know about you, but lying? Secret handouts? Being the family's undercover financial savior is just as worse. Mom and dad secretly depending on you whenever they lose faith in us is just so much worse, Jesse.
They weren't handouts.
The hell they were, June. And don't act like what you did was for me or because you love me or something. Everything you do in hopes that it will make you look good in mom and dad's eyes. So you send them some money every now and then. Big whoop. I know exactly why you do it, Jesse. You do it because you're lazy. It's so much easier to write a check than to come paint the garage or to clean out their attic or to run errands when dad's back is acting up or all of the other 1.5 million things I actually physically do for our parents. I may not have much money, but they know they can always count on me if they ever need anything. Not Rodney, and most definitely not you. Without the money, you are simply useless to the family. You have no idea how to help us otherwise. You have no idea how to be thoughtful, how to be a big sister, how to help because you're never here. And you're not particularly good at anything. No practical skills whatsoever. No, nothing. You're nothing more than a checkbook with legs that Brent is stuck with because every couple of years you pop out another kid. So don't go pitying me all these years with your secret handouts. If anything, I pity you. Jessie snatches two tissues from out of the tissue box sitting on the end table. She dabs her wet eyes.
Is that honestly what you think about me, June?
June sits back in her seat, shrugs her shoulders. Jessie softly sighs while Evelyn just holds her head down. All right. That tears it. Forget textbook psychology. Forget playing nice and talking to everyone gently and sweet. Forget the stinking no judgment zone. We all need to have a serious talk right now. Dr. Parker rolls up her cardigan sleeves and leans forward so her elbows rest on her thighs. June, Jessie, and Evelyn stop and stare in shock. I had to sit here and watch two sisters try to one up each other on tearing each other down. It was ridiculous and frankly embarrassing. You two are family. You grew up together. You are not your sister's enemy. You are your sister's keeper. And Evelyn, you just sit there like a bump on a log, not taking any responsibility for the role you played in all of this. You are aware that just sitting back and watching a fire spread is just as bad as setting the fire yourself, especially if you do nothing to try to stop it. Your daughters may have a lot of differences, but the similarities cannot be missed. They both like to blame everyone else instead of taking some responsibility for why things had gotten so bad. And I think we all know where this lack of taking accountability stems from. And there's so much holding back, so much holding things in. And once you do admit something, it comes off like firecrackers. You all have to work on your communication. It's a must. Now, Jessica, I know you don't live in the city, but one therapy session while passing through isn't going to do much in the long run. I greatly consider you all, including the men of the family, join me in June more often during these therapy sessions. We can do it over a Zoom call or over the phone, but for the sake of your family and for generations coming behind you, please consider taking your healing together more seriously. Either that or continue to do what you've been doing already. It's obvious how that's worked out. June, Jessie, and Evelyn still sit in silence. Dr. Parker rolls down her sleeves, then picks up her pen and notepad off the floor. Okay, so June, I see you're scheduled to see me in another 2 weeks. Can I count on you all to be in attendance? June, Jessie, and Evelyn all nod their heads in fear. Excellent. Make sure you leave your emails with Valentina up front so she can send out those Zoom meeting links once the time comes. Well, that just about does it for this session. We'll be in touch. Exterior, June's front yard day. June is raking leaves in her front yard when Jessie pulls into the driveway in her car. June stops raking to watch Jessie get out of the car and slowly approach her. Where's Brent and the kids?
The zoo. I wanted some alone time with you.
You, wanna help me rake the yard?
Sure, I can rake.
You never actually raked leaves before, have you?
Not particularly, no. But I can't imagine it's any different from combing my hair.
How about you just hold the lawn bag?
Now that I can do.
Jessie holds open the lawn bag as June empties a pile of leaves into it. They stay silent for about a minute before June breaks the silence. Jessie, about the visit to Dr. Parker yesterday, I just want to say,
I know, June. It's okay. I forgive you.
June stares down at the ground. She nods in response.
And June, can I just say,
I know, Jess. I know you don't pity me or Rodney. You're just trying to help because you've always been our keeper. Jessie nods in response, fighting back tears. June and Jessie silently resumes raking leaves.
out of curiosity, do you ever plan on paying us back?
Not on your life.
Just thought I'd ask.
Now don't forget to like, share, subscribe, or follow.